Super Rugby Power Rankings for round number 7, folks. I feel like the results at the weekend were kind of predictable. The Brumbies getting rolled by the Tars at home was certainly an unexpected one. Some of the margins maybe were a bit bigger or smaller than predicted, but yeah, I don't know that there were any kind of catastrophic upsets or defeats or whatnot, but yeah, we'll go through them and you guys can let us know your thoughts. Power Rankings ranking from bottom to top. Who's kind of the in-form sides? Moana, sadly, not in form. You'd be targeting a home game against the Landers, who were a team outside the playoffs, as a potential close game, but it wasn't close. They got pretty well beaten. We lost power, so we lost the broadcast for the final 20 minutes, but it didn't make a difference. There was no scoring in the final 20. Yeah, everyone's getting points off Moana, apart from the Drua in that opening game. So they're not going to go through the season undefeated. They're not going to go through the season without a win. Winless. But yeah, wins are looking pretty hard to come by at the moment. Then there's the Force, who are in 10th. I've got them down one spot on the power rankings with that home loss to the Chiefs. But I don't think the Force have been bad. I feel like the Force just need to find another gear. They've been living with teams, but not quite able to get results. So, yeah, the season's ticking by pretty quickly for the Force, unfortunately. But I do feel like they're not that far off the pace, even if their record is also not great. And then the Drua got them down into 9th. They don't win away from home. They didn't change that against the Blues at Eden Park. Although they lived with the Blues for a while. First half was certainly close. Second half scoreline blows out. So that is the bottom row. And these teams in the power rankings are all exactly the same as their spots on the table, which is not the plan, but that is the way it has worked out. Then the Highlanders are in 8th. I've got them up 2 spots with that big away win over Moana Pacifica. Much needed. We kind of talked about their wingers, Tangitau, Nareki getting on the board. They did exactly that. So perfect result, really, barring Jacob Ratubatamukinikin's injury. Everything else went pretty well for the Landers. They got the much needed win to bring their record back to 3 and 4. Yeah, they needed a win pretty desperately. Then I got the Tars. I've got them up a spot with that away win over the Brumbies. Likewise, much needed. The Highlanders and the Waratahs were kind of both threatening to be left behind, and they both got needed wins. The Tars one's a kind of interesting one that I thought they might have been going to get a result a week before against the Blues at home, because they were in that game for a long period, but no, they did it away against the Brumbies. I didn't see that one coming, so good on the Tars for getting that result. And then speaking of the Brumbies, I've got them down a spot into 6th, which is much different from their spot on the actual table. They are 3rd on the table. Why are they 6th on my power rankings? Well, the power rankings, in theory, is supposed to reflect more current form, and the Brumbies have lost 3 of their last 4. That does not scream a team which is in great form. Could the Brumbies still roll anybody on their day? For sure. Is their recent record great? No. So they're 6th on the power rankings. Then we got the Crusaders. They are in 5th. They were on the bye, so nothing really doing with them, although they've ended up going down on the power rankings, I think, a spot, because a team around them has passed them, but the bye will even itself out throughout the course of the season. Then the Chiefs. The Chiefs are up into the top row. Chiefs have been unconvincing. They had to work for their win over the Force, but they still got that one. So they're up 2 spots, which is maybe a little bit generous for them, but it's an away win. Away wins can be kind of hard to come by. And then the Reds, who were a bit of a disappointment. They're down a spot. It might seem not enough to drop them only 1 spot, because they got absolutely hammered by the Hurricanes. But I'm taking into account the fact that the Hurricanes are the top side and the Reds played them away. So the only thing I've really punished the Reds for, apart from just losing, is the big margin. So they lost to a top side away. A lot of people will have that issue. Then there's my Blues. My Blues have been solid, if not spectacular, with their win over the Drua. They got a 5-2 record, so they're up. Well, they're not up. Are they up? Up 1 spot. Yeah, they've passed the Reds because the Reds lost. They're up into 2nd, which matches their spot on the table. And then the Hurricanes are still 1st on my power rankings. They are still 1st on the actual table. They have a 5-win, 1-loss record and are looking quite the team thus far. So largely this matches the table, especially the bottom teams, but there is a little bit of differences, particularly with like the Chiefs, the Brumbies, and the Crusaders. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts. Who would you have potentially in that third and fourth spot. Do you reckon the Chiefs are third? Or have they not quite earned that just yet? You guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.